Okay guys, so welcome to part 2 of this Q&A. So if you haven't seen part 1, you can head over and watch that after this. It doesn't really matter which order you watch them in. But yeah, let's get into the questions. How do you plan to adapt your training when baby is here? So some of you guys might not know on YouTube if you only follow me on this outlet. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll know. And if you don't, head over to Instagram and hit follow. Yeah, Louise is pregnant. Louise is my partner. And we are having a baby in October, end of October, early November. So really excited by this. A new challenge in life, another chapter. The kind of real ultra begins, as I've been joking around. How am I going to adapt my training? I think that's going to be a learning process when baby's here, really. I guess you guys might have some tips on that, so put them below if you're a dad or an ultra runner dad, or just a runner and a dad. But yeah, definitely really lucky to have a really supportive partner in Louise who really supports what I'm doing with my running and obviously wants me to be able to achieve my goals. So I think, that partnership will really help there and help us really manage my training as well as having the baby. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how it all goes and how it fits together. But I feel like I'll be able to make it work. And I feel like it will just be an added inspiration for me when it comes to race day and getting the most out of myself and obviously trying to make baby proud. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be challenging, and definitely know that. I know it's not going to be easy, and there might be some sleep deprivation at times, but it's just going to be good ultra training really in the long run, getting used to those sleepless nights when you're on the trails. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, and perhaps I'll have to update you guys when baby's here and yeah, see how training is. What do you do to recover from extremely attritional ultras like UTMB? So UTMB was my first 100 miler, as you saw in the video if you've watched it. And it took a lot out of the body. I think with a big race like that, one of the major things is it's not just about that race day. Yes, it's a long race, but it's about those kind of months of training leading into a race like that. You've built up maybe a little bit of fatigue throughout the whole process, and then race day, you're coming into it fresh, hopefully, if you've tapered towards the race. But then, of course, on the other side of that, you're pretty destroyed. So for me, what I'll do is focus on good hydration, good nutrition. As soon as I cross that finish line, making sure I'm eating plenty, making sure I'm hydrated. If it's been a hot race, that's really important. And just focusing on lots of good food those few days after the race. You've burnt off thousands of calories in a race like that. For me, it's quite obvious if I look in the mirror after a race like that I've lost some weight throughout the course of the race. It might just be water weight for the most part. But yeah, eating enough food is really important. Plenty of sleep if you can. It's really difficult after a long race like that when everything hurts. But doing the best you can to at least get your feet up over those next few days is important. But also just some really gentle movements. So for me, I think it was maybe the next day or a few days after UTMB, I was out doing some easy hikes with my family, which was really nice to be back in nature again without any pressures and just enjoying that kind of social environment. But getting some really easy blood flow around the body, just so that things don't fully lock up and tighten up. And gentle blood flow will always help with that recovery process. So for you, that could be some cycling, some easy walks, or maybe some light swimming in the pool. Really light, really easy, just recovery focused, just to keep that light blood flow going and really aid in recovery. But lots of rest. That's definitely important, and something we shouldn't take for granted after these long races. You've got to give all sorts of systems in the body a break. So that's how I approach it. How badly would it affect me if I did my half marathon training long runs in the mountains? So if your half marathon race is a road race, then it could affect you a bit. It's going to slow you down. It depends really on how much elevation, or depends what your mountains are like, what your trails are like. So if you're doing lots of technical trails, then some of that now and again is going to be fantastic in your training build up, because it's going to really help keep the body mobile and moving well, but it's not going to be the optimal training to getting your leg speed up for a half marathon race. So maybe in those last 6 weeks leading into your race, I would maybe leave the long mountain runs behind and really focus in more on the specific half marathon long run kind of goals that you should be having. So doing some long runs with some half marathon, some marathon pace in there, just to get the leg speed up and get you comfortable to the kind of paces and the effort that you're going to be putting out on race day, as well as that leg speed as well, because you will lose that a little bit if you're spending all your time on the mountains. But definitely I think it is valuable for any runner, no matter what their level, to do some running on the trails, just because it gives you that bit more mobility, a little bit more difference in your stride pattern. You're having to step up onto rocks, you're on softer surfaces, so you kind of grow a little bit more strength there, and helps to keep you a little bit, maybe a little bit more injury free depending on who you are, because you're on softer surfaces, and limits your risk of injury. So yeah, I would say it's cool. It's probably good as long as you're not just running, straight vertical kilometers on your mountain runs. If you've got more of a runnable route, then that's a good option. But leading into that specific phase before the race, keep it a bit flatter, keep it a bit more connected to what you're going to be experiencing on race day, and you'll be able to get towards your best performance then. How and when did you get into running, and what sort of events did you enter at first? So I've been running since I was about 11 years old in cross-country lesson in schools when I started. I hadn't really ran as like a sport before that. Obviously, as a kid, I'd played lots of other sports. But yeah, we were doing cross-country, really enjoyed it. Had the football boots on, of course, around the muddy fields, and ended up coming second in the class. So I realised that was okay compared to all the other kids. And then it really just kind of took it from there. So I started getting into athletics at the local club and just had fun with it to start with. And then, I think so. The first kind of formal races really I was doing was just the school cross-country races, and then the track races. So I was running 1,500 meters on track, 800 meters, those kind of distances for some time. And then, it just kind of grew from there really over the years, and ended up going longer and longer as I got older, and found these trail races after a few years without racing, and now I'm doing all this ultra stuff. So a bit of a trajectory from doing middle distance events as a kid, but that's the fun of running, I guess, and it's been a fun journey so far, and I look forward to where it takes me next. Is it advisable to get faster on shorter distances like half marathon before stepping up to ultras? I think it really depends on what you've done in your running before in the past. I think it's a really good idea to, if you're new to running, to really kind of work your way up through the running distances and not rush straight into ultras. You can learn a lot about yourself by pushing yourself in these shorter distance races. And if you run a 5k hard, it's a really hard physical effort on the body, and that can really just help to strengthen and prepare you for some of the sensations that you'll have in an ultra. Obviously it's a bit different, but as a runner you'll just learn that little bit about yourself from these shorter races as much as you will from doing the long ultra races. So it really depends on you as a runner what your motivations are, but I think it's certainly a benefit if you can really work on your leg speed and your fitness as a whole through doing some of those shorter, more specific sessions that you might be doing towards those kind of races before you go straight into ultras. If you're a young runner, I definitely think it's really valuable to not rush into ultra running. I know there's a lot of guys now who are maybe 16, 18 years old who watch these videos and really want to, rush into their first ultra races. I'm really excited for it. That's awesome. And I'm not saying that you guys couldn't perform well, but definitely, if you're a 16-year-old runner and you're doing cross-country in school and you're seeing these ultra trail races and you're really excited by it, that's awesome. Harbour that inspiration and motivation to do them in a few years down the line, but work your way to them. Maybe think about doing a half marathon, think about a marathon, build up through the distances to get there, because if you've got some really good speed from cross country in school, or some reasonable speed, I'm sure you can get some great half marathons, some great marathon races in, or even just some short trail races before you go into ultras. So you don't necessarily need to stick to the roads, but definitely have some fun on the journey getting towards the ultras. Don't just go from track runner to ultra. Take your time in between a little bit. What strengthening exercises and stretches do you do regularly to prevent injury? So for myself, what I'll really focus on is a lot of single leg stuff to really keep myself as injury free as I can, or to make sure that my stride is balanced between each side. So rather than just doing your straightforward kind of air squats or anything like that, I do a little bit of that. What I'll do a lot more is a lot of single leg lunges, some single leg squats, some single leg step ups, of course, some single leg deadlifts. So I like to just kind of isolate each leg to make sure that both of them are doing the same amount of workload there. And what that does as well when you're training for the trails, it really helps with the balance as well. So when you're doing any of those exercises, you're not just working those bigger muscular groups. So when you're doing those exercises, you're not just working those big muscular groups, which of course you want to keep strong, but you're also working those stabilizing muscles within the legs to keep the balance there and keep yourself ready for the trails. So those are the kind of main strengthening work that I do. Stretching wise, I just stretch my legs as we all would. So I really focus on hamstrings sometimes if they get tight. Any kind of tight spots, I usually focus on a little bit more. But yeah, you know, just these simple stretches, nothing too fancy for myself. I am interested in doing a little bit more yoga into the future. I think it could definitely help me because my flexibility isn't great. But yeah, bit of stretching, foam rolling, I absolutely love. And recently got myself one of the massage guns. I'm sure you guys have seen people with those recently, and that's actually becoming quite a useful tool. I really enjoy to get to those hard to reach areas and yeah, really try and work out any tightness there. So those are the main kind of exercises I do, but I also do a fair amount of cross training, which I think is really valuable and something I really enjoy doing. So I get on the bike trainer or on the bike on a bike ride now and again, and I find that helps to keep some good strength there as well if you're going up some steep hills, and it just feels good for the legs from a recovery perspective as well. Alright, so that'll round off this Q&A. If you've enjoyed it, or if you've got any other questions, anything at all running related, or maybe something random, you can pop it in the comments down below. Hope you've enjoyed it, hope you've got some good feedback from this. Hope you guys are enjoying your running. Set yourself some challenges if you've got no races coming up right now. So whether that's a distance goal for the week, or you know, trying to improve your long run, or improve your short speed, or maybe doing a time trial in training. Have some fun with your training. Don't stress yourself out about it. Keep it fun, keep it light, be sensible, and yeah, let me know what you guys have been up to. And really hope you've enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you have. Hit subscribe. Yeah, and thanks for watching, guys, and take care.